Saturday or a Sunday to go racing. We can do it midweek and still have just as much fun. You've joined us just in time for the best motor race you're going to see today. It really has been a fantastic build-up for this second round of the Formula Regional Middle East Championship here at the Marina circuit, the meeting place of champions. You can see for yourself that the cars are still in the process of heading their way out of the pit lane, out onto the circuit to go and form up on the grid. Now, we've seen already some colder temperatures this weekend. You can see the drivers just making their way back out onto the circuit. The ALT Grand Prix trio getting themselves dialed in and ready. Evan Schielter, along with the two Japanese drivers, Kanato Lee and Taito Kato. Watch out for them today. Evan Schielter managed to grab a pole position for race 3 tomorrow, so he's definitely going to be up for the battle. But the man they've all got to beat is the one who's managed to take pole position, Freddie Slater, who also managed to take a pair of pole positions and a pair of race victories on the Grand Prix layout. The only really thing that's going to make it a little bit easier for the drivers this time is that we've changed the layout. We're now on the corkscrew facility, which means that instead of dropping all the way down the hill to Max Verstappen's hairpin lunge, we're now going to turn left and drop down a crest of a bit of a zigzag, which makes setting up the car for a downforce heavy race a bit more of a priority. The drivers are finding that tyre life is very, very difficult to predict here, especially considering it's a little bit cooler today than it was at the weekend for round 1. The wind is a little bit stronger and the guessing game is even more unpredictable. But one man still stands head and shoulders above the rest of the field, and that man is the British driver, Freddie Slater. Is he relaxed going into round 2? Well, last night I caught up with him. Freddie, fantastic first round of the championship. It was a pretty perfect round all in all. You managed to get everything you could out of the pole positions and turn them into victories, and in the reverse grid race you made up some positions. How do you assess the weekend, your first ever in Formula Regional in the Middle East?
Yeah, it was a pretty special weekend. Obviously to win on debut as well was pretty cool. Obviously tough conditions for all the drivers. We all spoke about all the degradation we had and the way we're trying to learn with this Gitti tyre. Obviously it's only round 1, so we've got 4 rounds to still perfect it. Obviously a few places made in the reverse grid. This car's not great for dirty air, so we're really having to work on that and see how we can make that even better to gain even more points. So no, overall really solid weekend.
So try and level with me, where is that pace really coming from? Is it your understanding of tyres? Is it the hard work that the team have put in to put you in that position? Where is it coming from all of a sudden?
I think we knew where we were at. I think also you don't go into anything with any expectation. You just baseline, you go out and you give it your all and see where you end up. I think we put a lot of effort into understanding the tyres, because the tyres are the most important thing out of anything. So as long as you get that absolute peak out of it, which in qualifying we definitely did, especially in Q2, it makes all the difference. And then I think each year I'm just growing as a driver, getting better and having more of an understanding and more of a free headspace to I can do the drive more in a flow state and then focus on other things in my spare time, let's say. So I think that's a massive thing that I'm trying to develop, and hopefully it pays off in the future.
I've been in a really privileged position over the years to watch you grow from the age of about 8 years old in British karting at clubbies and a few regionals and nationals, and then all the way to this position. When you look back over it all, is it still a bit of a reality check for you? Do you still kind of feel, how have I got here from all of those incredible days?
100%. Obviously when I was 8 years old I was probably a bit of a hazard and didn't know a lot, and yeah, obviously everything you just develop each year, don't you? And also I had some great memories with all the people around me, and yeah, to this day you can, when you do look back at it, you see where those certain moments made you even better. For example, 2021 World Championship, all the different sort of conditions we experienced in the UK as well to make me even better in these changing conditions out here. So you do look back at it and see it paid off.
Now last year you won this title in the F4, this year you're leading in Formula Regional. They're very different cars. How would you describe the difference between an F4 and a Formula Regional to someone who's not in the position you're in? How would you describe it?
Yeah, quite a big car compared to an F4. Obviously it's got a limited slip diff, so when you can actually rotate the car on power, which is quite a nice feeling compared to an F4. Quite a big heavy car, so tyre degradation is a lot more compared to an F4 car, and also in the racing situation it's a lot harder to follow, so to actually make ground when you're 20 minutes into the race or 15 minutes into the race is super difficult. So yeah, it's a big step up.
One of the interesting factors of round 1 is from one day to the next, the difference in the pace of lap times. We had about a 2-second drop off at one point from one day to the next. How do you as a driver adapt to that when the conditions change almost without warning?
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird thing that we experienced. Obviously, I think race 1 to race 3 race run, we were 5 seconds faster in total race time in race 3. So obviously a big jump and something we're not all used to. But honestly, we just had to go out there and adapt. You get the cars you get dealt with, and you've got to get on with it. So yeah, you've just got to feel what's underneath you. I think obviously we look through the data overnight and the next day to see where we can find every little tenth we can find. And we all did, and I'm sure all the team stayed up nice and late to perfect it, and yeah, it paid off in the end.
So much has been written about you and spoken about you in the media and by fans and followers on social media. There's that elusive question of why there's not yet been a representation by a Formula One team. Now, you've got an incredible team of people managing you and around you. Is that enough for you? Is the threat of a potential deal with F1 a distraction, or is it something you'd welcome?
Honestly, it's something I don't need at the moment. I'm focused on my own job. I've got the right people behind me at Craig Boyd, my family, at ADD Management. You know, they're the best people to have around. We're doing our job at the moment, and I'm sure all that sort of stuff will come at the right time, because at the moment it's not needed. So I just keep trying to do my job at the moment and keep on winning races.
So 2 years ago, Andrea Kimi Antonelli came here, won the title in your car essentially. Now he's a Formula One driver. You've already started winning a round earlier than he had. Is that something that potentially gets in the mind, or is that not really where your head's at the moment?
No, not at all, honestly. I don't think about all the records and all that. I just focus on the job, and then at the end, when you round up the year like we did in 2024, you just go, well, I broke a few records this year, which was good. So no, it's definitely not in my head. Obviously, Kimi's doing an amazing job to get where he has done, and to be winning races already is a good start.
It's been a good few years for British drivers climbing the ranks. Obviously, George has come up, and so has Lando. The potential for you getting there, it's looking more of an inevitability rather than a possibility. Is that where your motivation comes from? Is that why you just keep pushing yourself to raise your game each year?
Yeah, each year, like, my main focus is perfection. I just want to do, even if I win the race by 2 seconds, I want to win it by more, because I just love perfection, and that's what's driving me to become even better each year. Obviously, a few British drivers coming through, like Lando and George, obviously great drivers as well. So it'd be nice to join them one day, and we'll see how we get on.
Well, round 2 here is on the course. Well, a fascinating chat there with the championship leader, Freddie Slater. Is he a champion in waiting? He's certainly making all the right noises out there on the course. As you can see, we've switched from the Grand Prix layout to the corkscrew. The end of the second sector, they turn left rather than carry on down the hill and cut through a bit of a drop, which is definitely a bit of a curveball for the mechanics. They've had to completely reset the cars and prepare them in a slightly different way. It's more downforce focused than it is top speed focused now, which makes things particularly interesting. And it's definitely given Evan Gilter a bit of a second wind to try and get himself back in amongst the victors. He starts second on the grid for this one, but for race 3 tomorrow, he's going to be on pole position. He did a fantastic job. There are the temperatures at the moment, 52% chance of rain, and it's getting higher with every hour that passes. It won't really affect things today. We won't get rain in time for this race, but there could be rain potentially overnight and maybe even carrying on into tomorrow. We get a wet race under the lights tomorrow. Goodness me, that's going to be a spectacle, because we drive all the way into about 11 p.m. tomorrow night. There is Freddie Slater gearing himself up ready for an exciting show from the pole position. He's already taken 2 wins out of 2 from pole and 2 wins out of 3 all weekend. Leading rookie as well, but this man's going to push him all the way. The ART Grand Prix driver for France, Evan Gilter. This is definitely his strongest performance so far going into the weekend. A second on the grid and a pole position for race 3. It will be fascinating to see what he can do. Looking excited for what the battle will come as they continue to move their way further forward. So still the battles rage for the drivers in position. Third on the grid, the man who flies the flag for the United Arab Emirates, the man who lives 15 minutes away from the race circuit, and he's certainly proving to be another spectacular rookie, very similar to Freddie Slater. Rashid Al-Daheri running in the Yaz Heat colours in a Formula Regional for the first time in the 2025 campaign, and certainly having the tenacity to do it. Love the fist bump from the marshal on the grid there. The second of the ART Grand Prix drivers to be up in the top 4. Watch for this boy, Taito Kato of Japan, definitely a name worth watching out for in the future. He is such a big talent, and Honda are backing him all the way. You never know, he could go all the way to Grand Prix racing and represent Japan on a big platform. He is an amazing competitor and certainly worth a watch in the years to come. So with Taito Kato lighting up the circuit and putting on such a fantastic show, it's going to be really interesting to see what they can do. There's Jesse Carrasquedo, the Mexican driver, lining up 5th on the grid for this one. He was actually fastest in both yesterday's practice and this morning's. So he's looking a lot quicker this weekend. And there is the other Japanese driver making waves. If we've got one young driver in the Honda camp, we've got another in Toyota's camp. This is Jin Nakamura with the teddy bears on the helmet, looking really excited for the weekend to come. Everywhere Taito Kato goes on track, Jin Nakamura is either just ahead or just behind. It really is fantastic watching these two Japanese prodigies move. And speaking of prodigies, what about the young man in the McLaren Young Drivers program? The American, Zach Brown, will be watching the boy from New York City with that beautiful silver helmet, very much in tribute to his hero Mario Andretti. But Yuga Chukwu, who dominated the Macau Grand Prix back in November, looking so strong in a Formula Regional these days. He's got more pace this weekend than he had at the weekend, so this is a much better opportunity for Yuga Chukwu. He hasn't quite got the grid spot this time, but he's certainly got the potential. And there is Teofil Nal. This is his final weekend in the championship before he reverts back to Europe to get himself ready for another exciting battle out on the course. The number 4, Teofil Nal for Santaloc Racing. He'll be racing in the FIA Formula 3 Championship this year on the Grand Prix weekend. Very exciting to see what he can do. And here is the number 45. It is great to see the Australian superstar Jack Beaton, F4 China champion, and certainly a strong competitor in his native Australia as well. Jumped out of F4 at the end of last year, having been the vice champion of the Italian Championship. Now into the Mumbai Falcon squad in Formula Regional. He was so unwell last week, but he is back to reasonable fitness for this one, and it is great to see him at strength again, and he's up at the sharp end alongside his teammate on the grid, Reza Sawurthan, the British driver with Mauritian roots, a bit like we saw from Teofil Nal. This is going to be Reza Sawurthan's last weekend in the championship. The British driver with Mauritian background is going to be fighting his quarter, and it's good to see him based down in the south of England, but very proud of his Mauritian heritage. So Reza Sawurthan will be obviously pursuing his racing campaign at the end of this weekend and getting himself set up for more great things back home in Europe. And what about another Frenchman with a big mission ahead of him this year? Enzo de Ligny, bit of a prodigy in the world of F4, was backed by the Red Bull program. He's moved away from it for this season, but he's going to have a lot of good coaching from the likes of the French racing driver Hadrian David within the Race GP fold. And don't forget that he still has mentoring from the 2-time karting champion, the greatest racing driver you've probably never heard of, Lorenzo Travasanuto, who's been winning world championships in karting for the last 6 campaigns, and a really exciting talent, a great person to have in Enzo de Ligny's camp. So now the competitors are geared up ready. They are going to be asked to clear the grid completely. The marshals now move themselves away from the pit. The last mechanic with each driver will also move away. But it will be really exciting to see how the competitors run. Hello everyone, the Formula Regional Middle East Championship Round 2 is also being held at the Yas Marina circuit. After nearly a week on track, the drivers are more familiar with this circuit by now, but we switch to the shorter corkscrew layout. Currently, Freddie Slater is in first position in the points. Let's see if he can continue to lead in this round. The drivers are left on the starting grid, and the lights will go from red to green. When they do, they will be warming up the tyres and brakes to get themselves into position, ready for another crack at this Yas Marina circuit. The corkscrew layout, more downforce dependent than top speed dependent, but it will be a fascinating race nonetheless. As the Formula Middle East calendar continues on in earnest, looks as though everybody's getting away, first time of asking. And it looks as though this time we're not going to have any of the 26 cars left on the starting grid. Exactly the same competitors that we had for round 1 in the Formula Regional Middle East Championship. There will be some chops and changes from round 3. Getting ready for the appearance in the championship of the French lady for the Iron Dames, Dorian Bain. Still part of the Mercedes Young Driver Programme as far as memory serves me. And she'll be joining in the championship in place of Reza Sawerthan. So the competitors are going to be making their way around the course once again. And this race circuit will give us plenty of drama over the next 28 minutes plus the additional lap. So let's talk you through the runners and riders for this race. Freddie Slater and Evan Gilter, England versus France. Rashid Al Daheri, the home favourite, alongside Taito Kato of Japan, a real prodigal son and a real prodigy in the making. Jesse Kadashkado alongside Jin Nakamura, 6th in the position. Yuga Wuga Chukwu and Teofil Nal, 2 drivers with a huge future. 9th on the starting grid for Jack Beaton. Good to see him back at the sharp end alongside Reza Sawerthan. Then Enzo Deligny alongside Japan's Kanato Lee, who won race 2 last weekend. Then it's Brando Badua back to prominence alongside Aaron Cameron. Ernesto Rivera, the Red Bull youngster, alongside Giovanni Mascio, one of the most improved drivers of the last 12 months. 17th on the grid for Akshay Bora. Problems getting the car right in qualifying. Kai Dadianani, 18th position, still getting used to Formula Regional. Aditya Kulkarni and Lulu Che in the top 20. The final few cars in the mix, Lorenzo Castillo lining up alongside the United States racer Everett Stack. Jaden Pariat is alongside Finley Green, still ploughing his furrow in Formula Regional in 2025. And at the very tail of the field, it is the Chinese driver Wang Shongwei alongside Ukraine's Yaroslav Veselaho. So all the drivers gearing up, ready for a very different racetrack layout. It'll be an exciting one for all of the contenders. Let's see if it becomes a very strong battle for the drivers out there on the course. Formula Regional Middle East is ready to kick off for the second round of the championship. So let's see if we are going to have a magnificent run. And the battle between Freddie Slater and Evan Gilter is sure to be an exciting one. So let's see if we get ourselves a great race in the battle. Jake Sanson in the commentary box overlooking the Yas Marina circuit as we gear up for this second round of the championship. Race 1 of 3. The 2 night races tomorrow are going to be a real test of these drivers' resolve. But what are we going to get to see? Final drivers getting themselves into position. Looks like everybody is ready for another shindig here at the Yas Marina circuit. The meeting place of champions. It'll be really exciting. Round 2, race 1. The green flag flies at the back of the grid, and it's going to be Slater on the left versus Gilter on the right. Charging down to the first corner. Who's going to get there ahead? Let's race at Yas Marina. Fantastic start for Freddie Slater. Gilter's not quite going to get alongside him. Al Daheri's going to slot in third place. Kato is going to have to work hard to keep his rival, Jin Nakamura, behind him as he goes along round the far side. Jin Nakamura's going to get to 4th. Gilter's going wheel to wheel with Slater already, and there's going to be a really tight battle. Is that going to be Gilter putting one nose ahead of Freddie Slater as they come to the W Hotel? He just had to back out of it. He only just managed to do so in time. But Gilter definitely up for the scrap on Freddie Slater. He knew he had to get that done nice and early, and Slater will not let him have it. So as they work their way back down out of the W Hotel section, Gilter still all over Slater. It's going to be a tough one as they come out to the pit straight in the Formula 1 circuit. But Gilter knows he's got to take advantage while there's an opportunity brewing. Some good battles early doors, but Gilter really throwing his hat into the ring to try and get Slater. Slater's just got to settle into the rhythm. Gilter's got to hope that there's a mistake or two coming as the drivers work their way into turn 1 of the Grand Prix circuit. A couple of moves round the outside to try and settle in. But everybody hoping for a strong run. Looks as though we had a bit of a battle into turn 1. I'm not sure if we had a car or two off the road, but certainly everybody making their way through to the corkscrew. Delicacy needed, patience required. A couple of drivers choosing to go wheel to wheel in the corkscrew section. That is daring. And look at Gilter, he's lost a bit of ground to Slater. Rashid Al Daheri could sense an opportunity. Gilter is actually moving aside to stop the chance from Al Daheri. And he was hoping there that Slater was going to get caught out. But Freddie Slater is no slouch. He wasn't born yesterday. Oh, contact. It's all gone wrong. That's one of the PHMs come to a stop. That is Everett Stack. So Everett Stack is out of the race. That's surely going to be a safety car because he's going to be in a very difficult position. We've got a car coming down pit lane. It's the 15. It's Aditya Kulkarni. Aditya Kulkarni was the one who tangled in there with Everett Stack. He's got a broken front wing. Everett Stack is stationary at the chicane, so we're almost certainly going to go to safety car as Freddie Slater continues to be hustling around this course. Gilles second, Al Hardy third from Kato, Nakamura, Yuga Chukwu, Garashkado beaten, Teofil Nala, Brando Badoa, with Enzo Deligny and Reza Suwerthan giving chase. Under the W Hotel, surely we're going to get the command very soon indeed, if Everett Stack is still stationary on that far side of the course. Just waiting to see if he is going to eventually make his way around. Still no sign of the safety car, so I wonder if Everett Stack actually been able to get the car moving and get it out of harm's way. There is Aditya Kulkarni, the wing unfortunately stuck underneath his Axel GP car engineered by PHM, so they've got to lift the car before they can do anything. They don't have the same equipment as they do in Formula One, so it's not as easy to get that done. The drivers working their way through the corkscrew section. No calls for a safety car yet, so I guess that Everett Stack must have pulled his car way off the line, and that means that we can keep racing. Not good news for Evan Gilles. He was rather hoping for a safety car. That was his one shot to get back on terms with Slater. And look at that. Daylight is getting bigger between Freddie Slater and Evan Gilles. Well, the car is still there now. They've thrown safety car. Well, that was a very late call, I have to say, because the car was abandoned there at the edge of the corner. But the safety car is eventually called, and Evan Gilles is very lucky indeed to have that opportunity a second time. Will he be able to take it? So Freddie Slater leading the way from Evan Gilles and Rashid Al Daheri. Then it's Taito Kato and Jin Nakamura, the two Japanese youngsters who are great rivals. One in the Honda Academy, one in the Toyota Academy. So both of them could be chasing each other to Formula One. We could see both of them end up in Super Formula and Super GT in the day to come. It's going to be a really exciting restart. If Freddie Slater even drops a wheel on this restart, you get the sense that Gilles is not going to wait around. He knows how big a threat Freddie Slater is going to be if he gets clear. It's quite fortunate that a safety car is called at that point, because then he gets a chance to do something about it. So it'll be very tricky indeed. And Gilles has got to take advantage of this restart. It's not going to be easy. He's got to make sure everything goes according to plan. Let's look at the replays of the start. Now, Gilles gets a good launch, but so does Slater. It's kind of even Stevens. And look, there's a little bit of a love tap further back between Teofil Nal and I think that was Reza Suwerthan. That's how Suwerthan lost the places. Then we get a little bit of a shuffle of the deck down to the W Hotel. But the big incident happens here. Now, Everett Stack and Aditya Kulkarni are going to get together. 3 into 1. And, oh, it's a little bit of a trip up. It's a concertina effect. It was Liu Che trying to get a move on the inside of 2 or 3 cars. It held everybody up, and Kulkarni and Stack essentially had nowhere to go. Now, I would not actually point the blame there at either of them. I think the concertina effect of the 3-wide maneuver in front of them, it basically held everybody up. Everyone was triggered, and there was nothing really that anybody can do. So I wouldn't actually say that either driver was to blame for that one. They just got caught up in the concertina effect. It was a big move, a big ambition from Liu Che, the Chinese driver. There are the officials who've had a bit of homework to do over the last 180 seconds or so. Got a lot of stuff to do all in one go. So here we go again. Everybody filing up, ready for the restart. The marshals have already done a lot of work to clear Everett Stack's car. Now, how late are they going to lead the safety car out down the back straight? Because Eduardo Freitas, the race director, did say in the driver's briefing yesterday, if they were unclear about the starting procedure. Now, safety car lights out, you see, so they've clearly decided these guys have been holding up the field far too much, and the tactics were a little bit dodgy in previous races at round 1. So Eduardo Freitas said the lights will go out a lot further down the straight. That's a really good restart from all of the top 3 drivers. This could be a chance for Gilles. Slater a little bit snaky off the corner, and it's green, 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 green. Right, Slater's going to have big pressure from Gilles down to turn 1. Here goes Gilles. He goes to his right. He has the opportunity. Round the outside. Can Gilles take on Slater? Side by side. Both of them snake out on the brakes, and it's going to be a live to fight another day situation for Slater, but he does run deep at the hairpin. So can Gilles have another go at the W Hotel? He has to think about it. Slater's got to cut across the brow. He's really got to be careful. Patience is needed now from Gilter. He might get another chance down to the chicane at the end of the lap, but he's got to keep his car in all the right places to hustle Freddie Slater. Meanwhile, Taito Gato is doing exactly the same thing to pressure Rashid Al-Daheri. So as they work their way through, it's going to be a tricky race battle out there. And still, they run in position. Slater is not going to have this weekend all his own way. He did say round 2 was going to be trickier than round 1, and he's already proved that with Q2. He'll start race 3 from 5th position, a long way behind Evan Gilter, so he's got to make this race count. Otherwise, there's going to be a lot of points gained over this round by the Frenchman. Slater's got to take advantage of this race. He's got a big lead in the championship, but every point counts, and he knows how to win championships by maximising races when he's not going to win. So this is a chance for him to score maximum points up front. That's what happens in these feeder series. It's not about what you do when you're winning, it's about what you do when you're not. You've got to try and score as many points and put those in the bank as possible. Gilter not quite close enough to Slater to get it to work on this occasion. That could have been his one shot. And Daheri is trying to stay with him as Slater gets the lap time down, a 1:42.6, but it was a tricky lap. It's not been easy for him to hold the pace. Meanwhile, further back, you've got a battle brewing between Karashkedo and Beaton. Jack Beaton doing a good job so far, up in 8th place, ahead of Teofil Nal, ahead of Brando Badua. So the Australian having a really good race of it this time compared to in round 1. This is a lot more like the Jack Beaton we know. Don't forget, he's still a rookie in Formula Regional, so anything in the top 10 is gravy. And it looks like pole position for race 2 is going to be Brando Badua at the moment. He's currently in 10th position, and that would do rather nicely if he can stay in front of Enzo Deligny. So that would put him into pole position for race 2, the first of the night races tomorrow. It will be really a great opportunity for the Italian. So let's see how they can continue in close proximity. They run onto the pit straight again. Brando Badua got a lot of pressure brewing behind him. Enzo Deligny knows that the man in front could take pole position for race 2, and if he can be the man in front, that will get the job done nicely for the Frenchman. Seeking his chance, Reza Swerden would quite like pole position for race 2 as well. There's always going to be that interesting brew of a battle. Now Slater is not pulling that far ahead of Evan Gilter. I wonder if he's got all he can out of those tyres at the first part of the stint, because Evan Gilter is now trying to maximise things, and he's looking very strong, although down the back straight we know that Slater's car's got a bit of grunt. Whether they've made the changes to the setup to make it really smart in the aerodynamic front, or whether it's just Slater getting the exits he needs out of every corner. Out of the braking zone. Oh, Deligny almost tagging Badua in the braking zone and very nearly losing out to Reza Swerden. Swerden's got a better run of him off the turn, so Swerden could get himself into 11th place and therefore have a crack at the manoeuvre. They're going to run side by side. Swerden is going to be forced far side to Deligny. If he's not careful, he's going to leave the door wide open for Ganato Lee. Lee thinking about it. Deligny cuts across. Swerden's going to dive back for the inside. Lovely bit of racecraft from Reza Swerden. But can he hold it on the exit? Oh, there's nothing to choose between them. They almost make contact, and Swerden has done it. Good work from Reza Swerden, but he runs wide, and that's going to be enough, surely. Oh, both of them slide out wide. And surely Swerden's going to get away with that one, because there's no way Enzo Deligny's going to be able to hold it. He's got to give that position back. Well, this is a very tight race battle, but for the moment, Enzo Deligny's pulled out in front of Reza Swerden. Reza's going to be straight on the radio. Did you see what he just did? He cut the W Hotel. Get him out of the way. So now Reza Swerden has just got to keep a lid on it, stay patient. The officials will do what they do. And that's not going to make Reza Swerden's life any easier, because he's got a hard-charging Ganato Lee and the Red Bull youngster Ernesto Rivera breathing up his trumpet at the moment. It's going to be very tricky as they come up the crest. So they work their way back onto the back straight. Gilter is still only half a second back from Slater. Slater is not getting away, and that's good hope for Gilter. If he can look after his tyres better than Slater, he'll get another shot at him, particularly towards the end of the race. This is all going to come down to who can look after those GTs better. Braking zone. Gilter staying with Slater. The gap has only come up by a 10th, so that's all right for Gilter. Just look after the tyres, and the tyres will look after you. Al-Daheri, 3rd, Kato 4th, Nakamura, Yugachukwu, Karashkedo, Beaton, Nile and Badua. And there's a little bit of breathing space, but Reza Swerden and the Mumbai Falcons are not going to be happy at Enzo Deligny not moving over. They will feel that he has gained an advantage by going off the track. As far as Anthony and Race GP are concerned, no, we don't need to give the place back. We were a wheel in front, so we're fine. So that'll be up to Eduardo Freitas, the race director, to decide what they've got to do. If he doesn't move over and give the place back again, then he'll get a penalty, especially if they feel that he has gained an advantage by going off the track. It was certainly something that was talked about quite carefully in the driver's briefing yesterday. If you cut the course and you gain a position, you have to give it back, otherwise you will get a penalty. That was quite clear from Eduardo Freitas. So they've got to now judge whether that's the case or not. And certainly for the time being, it's all pretty exciting. This is a bit more exciting for the time being, though, as Yugo Chukwu takes on Jin Nakamura, his teammate. And look at that, there's Slater and Schilter. Our camera's having a little bit of a headache at the moment. Apologies for that. So they'll try and get it sorted, but it's not quite firing on all cylinders. But look how close Schilter is able to stay with Freddie Slater. He's not getting away. So Slater is staying about anywhere between half a second and 0.6 of a second away. This is so important now for Evan Schilter. He's got to stay focused. He's got to stay calm. Look after those tyres. Follow in the draft of Freddie Slater and make him work for it. Make him make the first moves to defend. And the gap's back down to half a second again. This is good work from Schilter. Stay in the draft. Stay in the tow. This race can still go the Frenchman's way. It's not done yet for Freddie Slater. It's certainly not done yet for Evan Schilter. Zone coming up for turn one, and it's side by side. Evans GP versus Liu Che, the Chinese driver for Origine. This is going to be really tight. Can Aaron Cameron go round the outside and pull off a Bathurst 1000 grade move? Not this time. Liu Che has held his nerve, but Aaron Cameron's keeping his wits about him. He knows that there could be another opportunity down at the W Hotel if he's got the gusto. But back at the front, look at this. Schilter's really close to Slater now. Slater is not getting away. Schilter has done his homework. He knows how to look after these tyres, and he's keeping Slater very much on the throwdown. Not easy. Slater, having had such a strong run at round one, he did say coming into the weekend, round two is going to be so much tougher than round one, because round one they had the straight line speed advantage. They've got to change the setup of the car for this one. It's downforce heavy, so you've got to get a slightly different setup in the car. Slater got the pole for this one, but he's down in 5th on the grid for race 3, so you do kind of feel like there are some little cracks in the fray. There are a few cracks in the ceiling, if you like. So Freddie Slater really hoping to hold on. This is a real test of his character. It's one thing to have a car where you can get into the lead and pull away. It's a completely different game to have a guy on your tail for the whole race, putting you under pressure. You can't afford to blink. You can't afford to spend too long you're looking in the rear view mirror. You've got to focus. You've got to make sure that that guy does not get inside your head. And Schilter is the kind of driver who will muscle his way into any driver's gravy. Absolutely amazing stuff. Really good battle between them. They share lap times. On the last lap, Freddie Slater did a 1:43.225. Evan Schilter did a 1:43.223. My goodness, how close is it between these two? Patience. Tighter line through the W Hotel. Slater snaking around. They've got to work their way out of the turn. Slater's really starting to feel the heat. Those tyres could well be falling away from him. Schilter making him work for it. Right. Brake. Turn in. Guide the car, don't slide the back end too much, don't use too much curb. This is Slater in real pressure mode. This is the hardest he's had it all season. It's only the 4th race of the year, but it's races like this that can really start to eat away at a driver's confidence. He's got a decent points gap, but all it takes is for Schilter to start to hustle, to start to find those weaknesses in Freddie Slater's DNA to get his move. Let's see if Slater can pull away. Schilter looking so good coming off the turn. If he's close enough in the slipstream, he can have a go, but he won't want to push it. He's still got 11.5 minutes. These are the tricks you learn in karting. Sit tight, stay in second, don't make the move until the end of the race. Here's another pressure cooker movement building up as Jin Nakamura is going to have some pressure here. Oh, sorry, that's Yugo Chukwu under pressure from Jesse Carrasquedo. So Yugo Chukwu and Carrasquedo, the American and the Mexican. Once again, Shieldhair so close to Slater. He takes another few hundredths of a second out of him on that last lap. Car number 1 must give the position back to Reza Suwerden. That's the instruction that's come up on the timing screen, and so he complies. Reza Suwerden gets through into 11th place, and so Deligny will not be happy with the instruction, but that is what the officials have done. Oh, Shieldhair really started to threaten Freddie Slater. Don't think the move would have happened there into the W Hotel. But Shieldhair doesn't want to take that big a risk. He's certainly making Slater work for it. As they come out of the W Hotel, he's really hustling the Englishman. Slater, Shieldhair. This is Mumbai Falcons Prema versus ART Grand Prix. Britain versus France, Slater versus Shieldhair, and Al-Daheri is really starting to get his work together as well. He's been looking after the tyres the last few laps, sat there in 3rd position. He's gaining on both of them. This race is not over, 10 minutes left of it. There's a black and white warning flag for track limits infringements for 2 drivers. One of them is the 3, that is going to be Akshay Bora, the other is Liu Che, the Chinese driver. Turn. And now we've got 3 drivers effectively battling for the win because Rashid Al-Daheri has decided to go with Evan Shieldhair. So smooth, you've got to be so precise. Britain, France and the United Arab Emirates in the top 3 positions. The toughest race so far. Slater locks up! His first mistake all season! Shieldhair's got to run off the turn! Slater's got to cover the move. That's the first big error we have seen from Freddie Slater all season. Now Shieldhair's going to tumble it! Slater not letting him have the move, not giving him the gap. Shieldhair trying to create the move. Watch for Al-Daheri around the far side, and Shieldhair's got him. Shieldhair leads. Al-Daheri's coming through as well. Slater down to P3. These are the races that can change the championship, and Shieldhair and Al-Daheri have got the move on Freddie Slater. It's blown wide open now, and Slater's got to find a way to get back into this. Otherwise, he might not get a win all weekend. Wow, all of a sudden, in the blink of an eye, the state of the race and the title battle can change. It's advantage France. Evan Shieldhair patiently borne his way through each of these laps, waiting for the mistake, and it came at the chicane. So Evan Shieldhair now leads the way. The leading rookie is now Rashid Al-Daheri on home soil. There he is in the Yazheat colours. The Emirati running in 2nd place behind the Frenchman, and Slater's under pressure from Taito Kato now. We did say that the 2nd round of the championship was going to be tougher. He locks up again. Slater's really struggling now. It's amazing what a difference in 3 little corners of a racetrack can make. The car is so much different with downforce applied, with a very different setting to the car. On the Grand Prix circuit, Slater was dominant on this shorter corkscrew layout. He's really struggling. We did say that the wind was going to make things very tricky this weekend. It's a much tougher race circuit now. As Jesse Kadashkado continues to hustle the New York Giant. Excellent work for Yuga Chukwu, the man who conquered Macau. Here comes Taito Kato. He's going to get Freddie Slater now. And the Japanese youngster makes it look like child's play. Slater is plummeting. Something's definitely gone wrong. So this is very uncharacteristic. I wonder if Slater's just pushed the tyres too hard in his defence of Evan Shieldhair, and as a result, he's just plummeting down the field. He could end up dropping out of the top 6 here because there's still 7 minutes left of racing, plus the additional lap. This could be a real pendulum swing in Shieldhair's favour. Don't forget that Slater starts race 3 from 5th position on the grid with Shieldhair on pole. Could this suddenly transform the championship? I mean, the only thing that Slater's really got potentially going for him is if he drops enough, he could fall to 10th position and get a reverse grid pole tomorrow. But Slater in dire straits here, down to P4. Shieldhair leads, Al-Daheri 2nd, Kato is now 3rd. What an opportunity for the Japanese youngster. So Taito Kato trying to close up on the leaders. Oh, a bit of a snake under brakes for Jesse Kadashkado. Real twitch as he tries to slow the car down. But there is more coming, more pain coming for Freddie Slater. That's Jin Nakamura in the background, and Freddie Slater is losing time to him. Freddie Slater's last lap, to show you how much he's dropped off, Gilles just did a 1:43.0. The Hardy did a 1:43.6. Kato a 1:43.8, and off the road goes Yuga Chukwu, trying to defend from Karashkedo. I was about to make the point that Freddie Slater had done a 1:45.8. He's now done a 1:46.1, while everybody else is in the 1:43s. Freddie Slater is almost 3 seconds a lap slower than everybody, and Yuga Chukwu has to give the place over to Karashkedo. He'll have gained by cutting the chicane. He knows the rules, so he moves over and lets Karashkedo have it. Freddie Slater is currently losing anywhere between 2 and 3 seconds a lap to the drivers around him. Something's gone horribly, horribly wrong for the Mumbai Falcon driver. And now Evan Gilles has started to pull clear of Al-Nahedi. There's Kato. Where is Slater? There he is. That's how much pace he's lost. That is startling. The man who dominated on Saturday and Sunday. Wow. It's very. Oh, and that is a spin. That's Jaden Pariat. So Jaden Pariat's gone around. Was there contact with the driver in question he was racing? Well, careful, Jaden, when you get on. You can't just go straight into the path of another driver. You've got to look at your peripherals when you rejoin. You can cause an accident. Interestingly, Mark Tucker makes an astute point. Maybe Slater has a slow puncture. He's struggling a lot with braking. Kian Nakamura-Berta reported that he thinks he had a bit of an issue with his car in the F4 race prior to this. So he feels that's where he lost all his time. So this is turning into quite an interesting race for the championship fight as Slater drops to 4th position. Let's have a replay. Now this is Lulu Che, Kanato Lee. I think we're about to see what happened to Jaden Pariat. Are we going to get 2 cars into one? We are. Pariat just going for a gap that didn't quite have enough room for his car. And it was the Evans GP car in front of him of Kai Dadianani. Couldn't fit the car in. Tried his best. It was a good gamble, but it wasn't a calculated one. Now Slater still trying to hang on in front of Nakamura and Karashkedo. Karashkedo is so good on tyres though. This is a really good chance for Karashkedo. He can pick up a 4th, 5th place finish here. Nakamura in front of him. He's got Slater clearly hemorrhaging time in front. Look at lap times again. And Gilles on a 1:43.3. Al-Daheri and Kato on 1:43.6s. Slater's in the 1:45s. Big drop off in time. 3 minutes 40 to go. Kato, the Japanese youngster, French F4 champion, looking good for a podium in his 2nd weekend. Incredibly, he races under a French license, so on the podium we have to tell you that he comes from France, but he's a very Japanese driver. So it looks as though we're going to have Taito Kato on the podium for the first time. Slater is in P4, but is that where he's going to stay? Because he's still got Jin Nakamura and Jesse Karashkedo bearing down on him. He's got to try and bring things back together. So tricky. Let's see if he finds a chance. Karashkedo still hustling Jin Nakamura. He's dealt with 1 race GP. He got ahead of Yuga Chukwu. Now he's got to get ahead of Jin Nakamura. Very quick off the turn, but he looked as though he had to come off the throttle a little bit there. A little bit of frustration, needing to be a tiny bit patient off the turn. Now he's going to be in the slipstream. Nakamura's got to be careful where he places the car to defend. Karashkedo moving the car around. Gets level in the braking zone. Can he go right round the outside? Oh, wonderful from the Mexican. Beautiful. Jesse Karashkedo, P5. Wham, bam, thank you and good night. Masterclass overtake. Nakamura's going to try and come back at him. Karashkedo will force him to the far side. All right, there's no room at the end of the inside. I'll go right round the outside, thank you. No chance. Well done to Jesse Karashkedo. Yuri Vimar wants to know, how did Kato have a French license if he's Japanese, but he's been racing in the French F4 Championship for the entirety of the last year, and clearly it made more sense for him to be based out there to have a French license to make it work, so that'll be why he's under a French license. You get this a lot. I mean, Chicho Ray is a Chinese driver, but he races under an Italian license to give you an idea. These things happen a lot. It only really comes back to the right frame of mind, and the right licenses will be on the right nationalities of drivers when they're in the Grand Prix paddock to avoid confusion. So down the straight, that's Freddie Slater in 4th position. 5th is Jesse Karashkedo with 1.5 minutes to go, and Karashkedo looks really strong. Sunlight's dropping. The track will be cooling down. Brando Badua has got a little bit of pressure himself here from Reza Sawerthan, who wants a reverse grid pole. If Reza Sawerthan can get ahead of Brando Badua, he's going to have one. Badua, look, trying to get closer to Yuga Chukwu. That's Jack Beaton. So Jack Beaton all over Yuga Chukwu. He fancies another crack at the move. And look at Kadashkado. He's right up close with Slater now. And Slater's going to be a sitting target. Slater's doing 1:45.1s. Kadashkado is similar on pace, but he hadn't moved to make, and Slater has to let him go. Kadashkado makes it look easy. So Jesse Kadashkado is 4th, Slater's down to 5th. Well, would he take the gamble? Would he roll the dice and drop down to 10th position in the hope that he can get a reverse grid pole ready for tomorrow? I mean, that seems counterproductive because you'll still lose championship points. You don't know how many you're going to lose over the weekend. You don't know if you'll leave here with the championship lead or not. You can't afford to drop too many positions. So there goes Jesse Kadashkado into 4th position. Slater now 5th. Jin Nakamura's 2 seconds back. That might be enough to keep 5th place. But it is tricky. You don't know how much time he's losing. There is Evan Schilter, who came into this weekend with a lot more confidence than in round 1. They said in round 1 we were doing a good job, but we were missing something. We weren't quite on our A game. Something was off. Now we think we found it. There's the proof in the pudding. Al-Daheri doing a great job in 2nd place. He's going to get the rookie win. And Taito Kato looking so strong for 3rd position. What an opportunity for all 3 drivers. They're going to be delighted with this because not only... Oh, Evan, don't do that! Dear, oh dear. That's Evan Schilter's first big mistake of the race. You cannot afford a lock-up. Not that heavy. They're all really struggling. They did say, you know, the wind going up, the temperature's coming down. They're not used to the circuit being like this. It's a very different racetrack. So this is a very tough race for everybody, particularly for the leaders. Everybody seeming to be struggling a little, but Evan Schilter seems to have got away with that one. Al-Daheri was a 1.5 seconds back at the time. He's up to 1.8, so I wonder if Al-Daheri made a mistake as well. They're all struggling. It's not a perfect circuit, this. So let's see if it's going to be an exciting run. So Evan Schilter, Rashid Al-Daheri and Taito Kato. Red flag! Red flag has been waved. Oh, my apologies. It came up on the dial, but it's not correct. Well, for some reason, the timing screen decided it was a red flag, and it's not. Okay, sorry for that, major hiccup, and we got away with that one. So we're on the last lap. Evan Schilter looks like he's going to have a smooth run to the flag after all. Well, the timing screen, obviously playing tricks with us a couple of times today. Hopefully we'll reset it and it'll all be good for tomorrow. But this is a very exciting podium for the rest of the championship, isn't it? Schilter leading the race, and Freddie Slater has dropped 13 seconds back from him. Well, absolutely brilliant from ART Grand Prix. Don't forget, this is their first campaign in the Middle East. They've only been European-based or Grand Prix-based all the way. So for them to decide, do you know what, we're going to have a go at the Formula Regional Middle East Championship. And here they are. The team that gave so many great talents their kickstart is proving to be a great one. Evan Schilter is now charging his way down the back straight. He has wrestled his way for the victory. This wasn't gifted to him. He had to fight for it. He had to get under Freddie Slater's skin, and he has done that in the most spectacular fashion possible. For France, Evan Schilter comes off the final turn. His fist is in the air. Evan Schilter wins at Yas Marina. Rashid Al-Daheri 2nd, Taito Kato 3rd. What a podium it's going to be. Everyone's going to be delighted. Kadashkado 4th position. 5th place is going to be Freddie Slater, just in front of Jin Nakamura. Yuga Chukwu, Jack Beaton, Teofil Nal, and the reverse grid pole will be Brando Badua. 2 more point scores for for Reza Sawerthan and Enzo Deligny. Great races all the way to the death. But Evan Schilter is a winner in the Middle East. His first ever racing campaign outside of Europe. And look at that. Scenes at ART Grand Prix. You don't tend to see too many emotions in the world of Formula Regional. They tend to keep it under lids, under wraps, until the end of the season. But Evan Schilter celebrating in fine style. You've got to remember that this is a driver with an incredible amount of ability. He has barely any budget to go racing at all. But Evan Schielter is the kind of driver for who you make things happen. He's got an amazing team of people supporting him back home in France. They believe he's the real deal. Having watched him in karting for the last 5 years, I would absolutely agree with them. If you're going to put a man with great passion, with great power, with great potential in this Formula ladder to continue his journey on, you've got to give the credit to Evan Schielter. With a drive like that, people will suddenly realise, I don't care if that guy's got no money, he's got to find a way up. Let's give him the push he needs. And it would be the absolutely perfect decision to do so. What a run from Evan Schielter, full of commitment, full of passion, and he'll be full of joy when he gets out of the car, that's for sure. What a dominant result for Evan Schielter at ART Grand Prix. Their first campaign in the Middle East, and it's a victorious one. It only took them 4 races to get the job done from a pole position. It only took them 2 races from the start of the season because Kanato Lee got the reverse grid victory in race 2 in round 1. But now that's 2 wins, and from 2 different drivers, and all 3 of their drivers have made it to the podium. What a commanding effort from ART Grand Prix. A great win for Evan Schielter, and it's richly, richly deserved by all. They had to wipe some cobwebs off in the first round of the championship. In round 2, ART Grand Prix stamped their authority on the Yas Marina circuit. They call this place the meeting place of champions. Evan Schielter is starting to look like a champion in waiting. Whether it's in Formula Original Middle East or not, it doesn't matter. Schielter rises to the top. Formidable. He gets out of the car, and this is going to be one heck of a celebration. Enjoy, Gigi. What a big moment for Evan Schielter. One of the most popular guys in motorsport. He goes straight over to Taito. 3rd position. 1 and 3 for ART. Magnifique. Mes amis. Magnifique. Excellent performance from Evan Schielter. It was always going to take a really magic racing driver to stop Freddie Slater from dominating this championship. Enter Evan Schielter. Once he cracked the whip, that was it. Slater slumped all the way back to P5. He'll be back, of course, tomorrow, and he'll still have a great chance of a reverse grid victory. He'll start that from 6th, ahead of Aldeheri and Schielter. So he'll still be a favourite going in for it. But what an opportunity now. The championship is blown wide open. Schielter, Rashid Aldeheri on home soil getting another 2nd place and very valuable points. There is his father, Ali Aldeheri. They're congratulating Rashid Aldeheri, who of course has a lot of friends here on his home circuit. And there's your provisional result. Evan Schielter taking the win from Rashid Aldeheri, the leading rookie, and Taito Kato of Japan, although it'll be France that he's called under on the podium. Jessica Shikado, Freddie Slater, Jin Nakamura, Yuga Chukwu, and Jack Beaton from Teofil Nal, and Brando Badua, who'll start reverse grid pole. Reza Sawerthan in front of Enzo Deligny, then Ernesto Rivera from Liu Che and Kanato Lee, Kai Darianani and Akshay Bora, Aaron Cameron, Jaden Pariat and Lorenzo Castillo from Giovanni Mascio and Finley Green. And at the back of the grid, it will be Yaroslav Vezalaho and Aditya Kulkarni. 2 retirements in the end, and that was Wang Shengwei, who actually did finish, my apologies. Just the 1 retirement then, that was Everett Stack of the United States. Freddie Slater's reign of dominance is over, certainly for the time being. It might come back, but for the moment, it's all about Gigi, Evan Schielter, and France. Conquer all at Yas Marina, and this is only race 1 of round 2. What can they do tomorrow? Thanks, Kelsey. Right. Great job, Taito. Well done, mate. Great drive.
Thank you.
Well done, mate.
Thank you.
Awesome. Hey. Brilliant, mate. Well done. Right. Let's get you over for the interview. We'll start with Taito.
Yep.
And then we go Rashid, and then we'll go Eva. Let's grab our top three drivers after a thrilling race here in round two, race one at Yas Marina. Third position, Taito Kato. What a brilliant drive. That is a really good way to keep the ball rolling as the season continues on.
Yeah, I'm really happy to first time podium in the Yas Marina. I was very tough race because I was get tire degradation, but I was good pace during the race. So yeah, I would like massive thanks for team and sponsors.
Only the fourth race of the season to get a podium. How long is it going to be till the win comes?
Soon, mate.
Love it, Taito. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So we've talked to Taito. He says the win is coming. Rashid Al-Daheri, that is a perfect way to kickstart this second round of the championship. A great run to P2. You looked after the tyres so well. Talk us through how the race was from your side.
Yeah, I think it was quite a particular race. Normally Abu Dhabi doesn't have that much deck, but we learned from the previous round that that is the case here. And yeah, I think we did quite a good job to manage it out. I saw the front two that they were battling quite a bit, so I was trying to wait for my moment to attack, and yeah, then it came in T9. So it was nice. I think it was quite a difficult race because, of course, you want to be close to the guy in front and want to attack him, but at the same time, you have the tire degradation based on the balance of the car. So there's quite a lot of management, and I think we did quite a good job in managing the first few laps. And I think we need to see tomorrow if we can get a little bit more pace in.
I was just going to say, it's starting to look like the win is not far, and based on qualifying for race 3, it could even happen tomorrow night.
Yeah, I mean, why not? We're ready. We're ready when the lights go out.
Fantastic. Well done, Rashid. Great job.
Thank you very much.
So from a rookie winner to the overall winner. Let's grab the man on the top step of the podium in a moment's time. Evan Gilter, what a drive. I've seen you go in some races over the years in karting and in F4. That was special. Talk us through it.
Yeah, this one was special. We started the weekend last week with a third place, then a second place, and like we said, normally it was first then. So I'm really happy about this. The mechanic and all the engineer, the whole team done an amazing work. Also for Taito, his first podium in Formula Regional. So yeah, we are happy about our performance with the team.
Is this the start of something now that the team have kind of got the first round out of the way and figured out how to do it? Are we going to see this pace for the entirety of the campaign?
I hope so.
Enjoy the moment while it lasts, Evan. Hopefully there's more tomorrow as well. Well done.
Thanks a lot.
Well, folks, I think this is going to be the podium of the season so far. A lot of happy faces on the rostrum for this one. And for round 2, race 1, there's going to be a lot of joy from the racers coming out onto the podium. So let's bring them out. In third position for France, Taito Kaito. Under a French license, but certainly the man for Japan. Be great to see him on the rostrum in third position. In second position for the United Arab Emirates, Rashid Al-Daheri. The home hero not only picks up a second overall, but also takes the rookie victory here at Yas Marina. But your race winner for France, Evan Gilter. ART Grand Prix have figured out this Formula Regional business already. Their second win in the Middle East after Kanato Lee in round 1. Now Gigi has got the job done in round 2. It's my honour to invite Davide De Gobbi, the General Manager of Top Speed, to present the trophies. Firstly, for France and ART Grand Prix, in third position, Taito Kato! And in second position, for the United Arab Emirates and Mumbai Falcons Racing, Rashid Al Dahiri! And last but by no means least, the victor for France and ART Grand Prix, Ivan Gilter! The rookie trophy will also be presented to the man in second position, Rashid Al Dahiri! A fabulous end to a very exciting race here at Yas Marina. What a battle and what a setup this is for the 2 night races tomorrow night. The teams will take a 24-hour pause and we'll be back for more great racing tomorrow. But the boys have very much enjoyed themselves, even if Rashid can't quite keep his hands on the silverware. But the drivers can have a party now if they wish. It's time for them to celebrate in style as they run away to get busy with the fizzy. Bit of an anticlimax, that one. Oh well, I'm sure Rashid can celebrate. Go on, Rashid. I know you want to enjoy yourself. He gets busy with the fizzy! Congratulations to our drivers on the rostrum. I'm fairly sure the only reason Evan Shilter ran away there was because he's only got one set of racing overalls. He doesn't want them to get wet before tomorrow. Well, ladies and gentlemen, a fantastic start to the week here in round 2 of the first race of the weekend. There are 2 more night races to come tomorrow and 2 more races from the F4 Middle East Championship as well. It really has been a sensational battle. We are so proud of all of the drivers and all the hard work that they have done. We've now got a little bit of a pause overnight. We've got 4 races to come tomorrow from the F4 Middle East Championship and the Formula Regional Middle East Championship as well. A massive thank you to everybody for watching today. From Jake Sanson, we'll be back in 24 hours' time when we race under the lights. Bye for now.